all the single ladies, 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 all the single ladies. Hey, this story is about Hawkgirl. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for another round of comic chat, and we have a new book today. A rare feeling. Actually, it's not much of a rare feeling, but anyway, this Dawn of DC is finally starting to kick out some new stuff, so that's great. Also, this one isn't bogged down with Night Terrors, so there's that. Night Terrors seems to be doing a whole 2-issue thing, and it's, I said before, it really is sort of killing the vibe of these books here. So it was nice to find a story that wasn't, it being Night Terrors. Shame, because we really could have used that for something like Adventures of Superman John Kent. But whatever. So anyway, let's get into it. So, let's start off with our new book, Hawkgirl. So, I was excited about this. I have not read a Hawkgirl comic before this, but I have read other stuff with her. The recent Scott Snyder's Justice League run had Hawkgirl because Snyder was a big fan of Justice League Unlimited. I read her with some of the JSA runs with Jeff Johns. There was her in the Hawkman book. I think she was in the one with Robert Venditti. I don't think I ever finished Venditti's Hawkman run. I think it was like one volume left. And of course, there was a Hawkman run by Jeff Johns that I read last year. That was last year? That was earlier this year. That was really fun. So, I'm excited about this. I'm not gonna lie, I am. At least I was. But yeah. Everybody's gay in this one. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. So our story starts off with this whole talk about a fox and how foxes are like women, underappreciated, treated like they're not as clever and whatnot, and hunted, and like, okay, alright, a bit much. But anyway, this lady is walking through Metropolis. This takes place in Metropolis yesterday. Let's all keep that in mind, yesterday. And she has been approached. Her name is Maureen, and this red-haired lady is like, "Hey, Maureen," and then we cut back to the past, somewhere not Metropolis, 50 years ago, which is so weird. This is all so weird. And she introduced herself to this young Maureen, saying her name is Vipulka. All right, which is where I guess she's. Is that Ukrainian? I don't know. I'm not gonna guess. It's like, hey, look. So, I'm gonna grant you one wish, whatever you want. All right. All you have to do is wear this gem, this necklace, forever until I come back and say, hey, I need it back. And so she's like, oh, whatever. Yeah, whatever. All you have to do is wish for it. And because she's a little girl, like, I want a pony. And she says, done. And next thing we know, her parents are like, hey, your father and I have a present for you. And yeah, she got a pony. Because then we cut back to yesterday, and there she is, living her best life, riding her on probably not the same pony. Well, could be, but no, it's like 50 years later. Like, no, there's no way. Horses don't live 50 years. So anyway, she goes through living her best life, but seems now it's time to collect. And we'll find out about that later, because now we cut to the present day in Metropolis, and we see Hawkgirl helping out the Superman family, because that's what you do. Even Black Canary's there. Everyone's wondering where Hawkgirl's been, if she's alright. Because last time they saw her, it had to have been, well, it definitely was with Bendis' Justice League, which we're just not. So everyone talks about, hey, it's been a while since we've seen you. Last time we saw you, bare minimum, if you don't count the Bendis era, we just saw what? Perpetua, the Dark Multiverse, Death Metal. It's been a while. Turns out she broke up with John Jones, with the Martian Manhunter, which to me was weird, but whatever. She's also apparently broken up with Hawkman or something to some extent. Like, those two are always on, hot and cold. So whatever. And the post while we saw you with the Justice League, Justice Society, the Birds of Prey, the Totality. Oh, she was on. That's right, she was on the Totality team, and nothing came from that. The Black Hawks, which Hawkgirl doesn't want to talk about. And everyone's just kind of worried about her. And turns out she has been having some really dark moments, sort of trying to figure out where she's going, I guess. But she just wants to focus on the work. She says it's okay. She's just trying to open up. A big thing about Hawkgirl is she's always spends all this time being a Hawkgirl. So the question is, who is she without the mask? Who is she when she's not a superhero? Most healthy superheroes are people when they're not that. Even Batman has time when he's not Batman. They're few and far between, but he always has that moment when he comes up for air. It's usually when he takes the cape and cowl off to shower or something. But anyway. As she gets hit and falls to her death, because like her wings just start deactivating, she actually is kind of like almost okay with it being over, because she's clearly been going through some stuff. But before she can, take the sweet embrace of death and try again in her next life, she's stopped by the superheroine Galaxy, who feels pretty generic. It's like we couldn't get Starfire, so we made a Starfire adjacent character. So, whatever. So it turns out she's like, hey, I have saved the planet before, but no one knows who she is. So it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Hawkgirl doesn't really care. They show like a whole, you owe me because I saved you. She's really just trying to, be a bit helpful, a little bit like, helpful ribbing. Also, Galaxy is accompanied by her corgi Argus. And Argus is adorable and is best boy. And, we would kill for Argus. But anyway. It doesn't quite work out so well. She isn't that welcomed by Hawkgirl, probably because she's trying, but she's still new at this. She doesn't quite realize whether or not with this alien invasion, if her powers means that she actually killed those aliens, or if she didn't. And while Hawkgirl's saying like, hey, look, I kill all the time. Sure, I kill, but I know when I am killing. All right. In other words, you didn't know whether or not you were killing them, and that might have destroyed her. She's like, oh, I didn't. We're good, right? We're good. Yeah. So whatever. So next thing we know, Hawkgirl comes up, and we cut to a time when she's back to being Kendra, and she's meeting up with a friend from college, and yeah. So remember I said everybody's gay here, and normally I wouldn't care. Normally I wouldn't, because if it's a good story, it's a good story. I wanted to like this one here, because there's a good setup here, sort of a reflection of Kendra. So last time they saw each other was in college, and since then, I can't remember her name. What was her name? It doesn't matter. We'll probably see her like 2 more times. She tells us, but hey, when I was in college, I was this shy church girl who just really didn't want to be seen. And she tells us, but hey, I got married out of college, and turns out that was a horrible, horrible thing. I was really just trying to hide who I really was. Okay, all right. There's some reality to that. College is the whole point where we try to find out who we are, try to sort of experiment with different things and new experiences, new ideas. That's the whole point. And she's like, hey, you know what? So I'm divorced, I'm gay, not even sure I'm a woman anymore. Like, we're just going through all of them. She's been an activist. She's a BLM supporter. Okay, that hasn't aged poorly, but whatever. So we see a whole lot of everything. The problem is it's so stereotypical. Like, she's going through all of it. Like, 1 or 2 of these things would be, I think, a bit more normal, but whatever. And the reason I say a bit more normal is because next thing we know, when Kendra starts talking about, hey, I was with a guy, he really helped me become the best part of me, and now we're kind of not together, which I don't forget why. And she's like, so I have a chance. I'm like, what? So now you just it's just all of it at once. And what's interesting is when she says like, hey, so you think I have a shot? And Kendra goes like, I'm flattered, really, I am, but I'm not looking for a romantic relationship right now, or any sort of relationship. In fact, she doesn't have any direction in her life at all, and that sort of ruins the whole mood. She's like, I gotta go. Now, to me, this just felt like a bit much, like as if we're not really going to see this character again. I think a more... So, this whole sort of thing, and I hate to stop this whole book for this, I probably shouldn't, but when DC Rebirth started, we had our first, that I knew of, trans character introduced in Detective Comics Rebirth, Dr. October. And Dr. October was the best. You wouldn't see her a lot, but whenever she was there was great moments when she talked about, hey, I was one of Batman's villains. I got this surgery. Batman even sent her a get well card. So there was that. But she also said, like, look, this wasn't a fix. Alright? I'm still kind of a monster in some ways because of what I did. Transitioning didn't fix my problems. It just made it easier to deal with most of them. So there was that. That was fun. That was great. And she was still great. Every time she showed up, it was great. Here, I'm just getting a whole bunch of... Maybe it's because it's 6 issues. It's a 6-issue run. We don't have time to do everything, so we're just going to throw it out. But whatever. Anyway. So now we've derailed the book. Let's cut to what Vapukala, I think that's her name. She's taken Maureen and said it's time to pay up. So the gem, the necklace thing, was nth metal, and over those 50 years, it's been feeding off of her energy, all the good vibes, the happy time she's had. And she's using this for a machine. So yeah, okay, we're using nth metal. Alright, she's in a good spot now with Hawkgirl. So later, Hawkgirl contacts Batman, and Batman's like, so, you know, this is a private channel, only for Justice League business, which we disbanded for some reason. And Hawk was like, yeah, and you also know I never call in about anyone unless it's serious. So he's like, alright, so what do you want to know? She's like, well, I need to know about the superhero galaxy. Like, she's new on the scene. Batman's like, I have a full itinerary. Alright, so, yeah, she's from a planet, not Tamaran. She's like Tamaran adjacent. He didn't say that, but clearly that's what she is. And she talks about how, yeah, she did apparently save the planet from a very, very bad invasion that was so traumatic that no one remembers it. And I'm thinking, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So no one remembers it. Batman's like, there's a possibility there was a really bad invasion that she stopped, that we've all chosen to forget. Why is this important? Why couldn't she just be the new hero on the scene? Why would we need all this? So I don't quite get it. She's like, you've got all that. She's got where she lives. She lives with her girlfriend, and I don't think he mentions Argus. So Argus is that stealthy. Like, even Batman doesn't have a file on Argus. And, you know, she's 5'11", 22 years old. She lives with her girlfriend in Metropolis. Everyone's living in Metropolis now. Even Hawkgirl lives in Metropolis, which will make what happens here kind of underwhelming. But whatever. So Hawkgirl then has a sort of introspective moment when she takes off her cowl. I think her helmet, her mask cowl. She talks about how, you know, she wore this to sort of protect her image and sort of, you know, create a new identity for herself. You're sort of wondering if this has become the real her. If there is no Kendra. Who is she if she's not Hawkgirl? She talks about how her grandmother wore a pendant for most of her life. And she's wondering if that pendant is now defining her. Is she only defined by Hawkgirl? And that's an interesting question for superheroes. You know, am I still me? Is Dinah Lance still Dinah Lance, or is she just Black Canary? I don't know. She doesn't really do much to separate those two iterations anyway, so who knows. So meanwhile, the Pulika, I really have probably messed this up, pulls the lever, and for some reason Hawkgirl gets shocked, probably because of the nth metal that is her wings. And she's using all of this to apparently open up a portal to the nth world. And opens up a keyhole size one, so we have to call Sora from Kingdom Hearts to unlock this keyhole, which means the Heartless will be here. But anyway, she's like, okay, I can see what's in there. Something looks back, but the portal starts to close. So that is weird, but apparently something does come out of it. Oh no, that is Maureen. So whatever's happened to Maureen in all this is not pretty. But anyway, before we can find out, Hawkgirl gets teleported to Galaxy's apartment with her girlfriend, and that's how the comic ends. So I don't know what to make of this. I don't quite know why Hawkgirl moved to Metropolis, but I think what is more interesting to me, despite all this going on here, despite the whole, hey, she's met up with a college friend who was one thing before and is now the total opposite of what she was when they were in college, which is life. The whole issue with Maureen and Vapulika and the nth world, to me, is not as interesting as Hawkgirl trying to figure out who she is and where she goes from here. She has no direction, she doesn't know what she wants to do. And I think it sort of speaks to Hawkgirl being one of those characters that DC doesn't have a real point to. She's never really had a consistent ongoing. She's always been part of another team. Even Hawkman, who's been defined being on the JSA, the Justice League, his solo books have always been, I think, more successful. I would say Hawkgirl's always just sort of, I think it's expected she should have a book at some point. But she's always been known for, like, hey, she's on the Justice League, the JSA. We mentioned all those teams she was on. This seems to be her first solo in a long time. I think the last time she had a solo was like the early 2000s. And I'm waiting for the trade to come out so I can read it. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing where Kendra goes with this. I'm hoping a lot of these characters will come back. I still don't get why she's in Metropolis, but I get why most people from other planets would go to Metropolis. Superman's there. If any city's used to aliens, it's Metropolis. Gotham wouldn't know what to do with aliens. They have enough problem with actual psychopaths and murderers. Like, no, we can't deal with aliens right now, alright? So I might give this a full 6 issues and see where it goes. I don't know how else to feel about it. The Nth World thing, we'll see. I don't think the gimmick of the story is going to work so much as Hawkgirl. Because, again, Hawkgirl doesn't really have a rogues gallery. So maybe Vandal Savage, to an extent, or Gentleman Ghost. But those are also Carters. I don't know. We're rambling at this point. So let's go to something we know a bit more on. Superboy, Man of Tomorrow. So I've always been kind of indifferent to this book. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not loving it. And sadly, this is my first Superboy story. So, yeah. Jim Sean's Teen Titans run was actually really fun. But whatever. So anyway, let's dive in. So we last left off, Trav has had enough. He's doing his thing, his real thing, i.e. killing criminals. Despite the fact that Connor said, like, hey, we'll send it off to the Green Lantern Corps. They'll come and pick him up. We let the system do its job. We're freedom fighters working within the system. There we go. And it's not working out, so Trav is also like super jelly that people like Connor more than him. But whatever. So, before Trav can unleash his super plan and reveal that he's a dick, the enemy in Infinity sent Mother Dominators have come down, like, to start some stuff. And I chose this scene here because it shows how little control they have over this fight. So they engage it. They each think that this is with the other person. And, like, how about we just put aside our petty insults from each other? You calling me stupid, me calling you an edgelord, and go from there, like, fine, I got an idea. And this is where Trav sort of starts to show his real true colors. And if you didn't like him before, which I could see a case to be made, but I've been indifferent to him, here he just sort of gets on my list here. So he's able to control the clones. And by the clones, I mean the people that the Dominators experimented on, because the whole point is we go through, we free the experiments from the Dominators, the people who've been taken and kidnapped from their homes, and we, let them be free. Trav can control them against their will, and he sends them to sort of swarm this enemy, and kills them. Connor feels very much against this idea, because, yeah, it's messed up. And Connor sort of points out, like, you were experimenting on too. Why would you do this? Like, hey, look, you, me, them, we're all weapons. I'm just better qualified to use them. And Connor's like, this is some super villain shit. Alright, but anyway, so the whole thing's over. Infinity has been destroyed and whatnot. And it's where the team really starts to fall apart. Or rather, the true colors have been revealed. Trav even reveals that the big conversation we have here is Connor sort of points out this is not right. This isn't what we should be. This isn't what I've been trying to guide you guys to. And this board is like, hey, what's the sense in this? We're being hunted down like criminals while the Dominators are free to do whatever they want. Where is the faith in the system? Where is the system doing the job it's supposed to do? And then you realize we're basically dealing with the Authority here. This is Connor Kent versus the Authority. Because even when Superboy points out the importance of the symbol, why I can't realize the symbol's outdated. We're going to have it mean something else. The system only works. The system only stops when it's broken. We break the system. Edgelord. I'm like, all right, man. Then you look at him, he's like, he really just wants to be Manchester Black. He wears an edgy trench coat. He doesn't believe in this whole truth, just the American way, and mercy to your opponents. And he's got psychic powers. We just created the Authority. I thought we were doing Guardians of the Galaxy. I was wrong. Turns out I don't know anything. If I have any enemies on the internet, they're going to use that. Do I have enemies? I hope I do. It means I've stood for this. Anyway. So, Connor's had it, and as if it does, it's going to get worse for Connor. It doesn't get worse for Connor. So, before Connor can, like, you know what, let's just try to stop him or anything, Trav has red kryptonite. Red kryptonite is different than regular kryptonite in the fact that it will slowly weaken him. Where green kryptonite will just kill a Kryptonian, this will severely weaken them. His powers won't work properly and whatnot. It's called, I don't want to kill you, but I can't have you be all up in the business. So, yeah, Connor talks about, like, you know what, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to explore, be a part of something. But as Trav pointed out, he really hasn't done that. He's been doing more of the same than what he does on Earth. He's just alone doing it. And then he found a team to join, so he just repeats his own cycles. But it turns out Trav is not done insulting Connor and betraying everything. He has made a clone of Connor. And I thought, wow, he's got everything but a brain in there. I thought, are you saying you're going to take Connor's brain? Or are you saying you're going to put your brain in that body? Because remember, Trav is a Daxamite. So he should be on some level as close to as strong as Connor can be. And Connor's not having this because this, in a lot of ways, is a huge betrayal of everything. Alright? Also, think about it, Trav is literally becoming the Dominators. But whatever. Connor feels horribly betrayed because this is a huge betrayal. Someone taking a bit of your genetic code, a piece of you, and using it to create a body. Alright? Essentially, this has always been the issue with cloning. The Doctor's Daughter, what was it? I don't think it was called Project Thalog. And Gargoyles, where, you know, we take a bit of you without your consent or knowledge, use it to create a new being. Or create effectively a child. Some people consider this the scientific equivalent to rape. But, you know, whatever. So, Connor's not happy. Luckily, the police are here. The Green Lantern Corps is like, alright, I don't know what's been going on here, but here I am, the Green Lantern, Sector 2828. The reason we have not given the name here is because you know what's going to happen to him. He's like, you know what? Yeah, under arrest. And, luckily, Trav's friend's like, what's going on? What's going on? Because they don't know that Trav has been killing criminals. Which, you know, to me at this point, seems we're a bit past that. So, the Green Lantern starts to arrest them, and Connor's like, you know what, this is great. You can all get a second chance. He's like, yeah, we're not doing that. And the team decides to, you know, betray them. And then we cut to the Fortress of Solitude, where Superman's like, hey, Kellex, have you seen Connor? We haven't seen, you know, it's been a while. Turns out, Mom and Pa Kent said they saw him 2 weeks ago before he went off. And Kellex like, yeah, he's gone off into space. It's like, hey, Kellex, where's the teleportation ring? Where is it? You know, it's dangerous and unstable. And Kellex like, yeah, Connor took it. Figured it'd be better for him to travel off in space. He's been feeling a bit lost, a bit lonely, a bit disconnected. And Superman's like, well, why didn't he tell me? We'd have helped. And Kellex snaps back in the best way possible. Look, I don't know, but I have a question. Why did it take you 2 weeks to realize that Connor's missing? All right. Why did it take you 2 weeks? Alright? And this is the thing. So I sort of actually skipped this part in the beginning, where he says, like, hey, I know Connor's been a bit off with the whole timelines thing, because it is sort of like Connor was just dropped in the DC Rebirth. Or just the DC Universe in general, after he was, like, missing for so long. So yeah, it's weird, the timeline sort of adjusting to him, as well as him being in Gemworld for all those years. So he's like, look, Connor wants to feel a part of something. He feels a bit lost and disconnected. I am a machine from a dead planet. Alright, I'm sorry, I'm an AI from a dead planet. I know exactly what that feels like. And he needed this. And again, Superman, You keep track of everybody else. Why can't you keep track of Connor? Why are you a bad dad to the one who really, really always wanted you to be his dad? All right? You got time for John. Yeah, I get it. John's your biological son. But you found time for Kara, your cousin, who really doesn't need you most of the time. You got time for Power Girl. You won't give me Power Girl's number. So, what? She got a whole new jacket. And her boobs are back to a relatively respectable size. Never make them smaller. Never. Don't do that again. But yeah, so Clark's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I've been a horrible, horrible mentor to Connor. Alright? It seems I'm now up there with Nightwing, because he's a terrible mentor to Tim. With Barry/Wally, he's a terrible mentor to Bart. And I'm not as bad as Holly, but I'm up there. And I'm not as bad as Wonder Woman, because she doesn't even talk to Cassie half the time. But whatever. I will not be as bad as Ollie and Diana. But I'm pretty sure Connor's got this till we find him. And Connor's like, I don't got this. I don't got this. So after they kill the Green Lantern and leave Connor to die, it should be noted that the rest of Trav's friends feel a bit bad about this. Like, do we just leave him to die? And Trav is like, nah, it's alright. He's been dead inside a long time. He just didn't know it. I'm like, what does that mean? Are you saying he actually is dying? Oh, did we bring Connor back to the DC universe just to kill him? Are we having the problem that led to Crisis on Infinite Earths? That there were too many Kryptonians? Well, let's just stop. Look, we barely see Zod and his kid anymore, so just stop it. So anyway, Connor collapses, but luckily he's found by his fan club, and that's how the comic ends. As we're tuning next time for The Reign of the Cosmeteers. And that's how it ends. So this was a little bit of everything. It felt a bit weird to have that trope with the Dominators setting out Infinity, and that doesn't quite play much of a significant role in the overall story, but it was alright for the most part. Connor's reveal of the Cosmeteers and Trev, and yeah, again, this Manchester Black knockoff. At least he has I think a better reason for doing it, because he does end up becoming the very thing he wants to destroy. This whole thing, like, hey, you want change? Well, it's not about changing anything. It's about making it so they can never do it to us again. I'm like, wait, so it's two different things. You want to destroy the system, and then you just want to protect yourselves. Like, what is this here? Trav doesn't quite seem to know what he wants, and his friends are just so dedicated to helping him because Trav is part of their found family. So there is something to that. But yeah, but overall, I'm getting, the authority vibes from this. It'll be interesting to see how Connor does this, as well as sort of what level of apology Clark is going to give out when this is all said and done. Because Kellex was right. Why did it take you 2 weeks to realize that Connor, technically the first Superboy, and who should have been Superman at some point, is just gone? Why do you keep screwing over Connor? Alright? I don't know. Again, this isn't an amazing story, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a nice little break from the everyday things of full continuity. Also, why wasn't this affected by Night Terrors? Is it because this story only had 6 issues? Anyway, moving on. Next, we have Generation Joker, which was not going to be affected by Night Terrors, because this entire thing takes place outside of the main continuity, in the Murphyverse. So anyway, when we last left off here, Bryce and Jackie were being stupid, and luckily they ended up in a cult of Joker followers. And being Joker's kids, they are big celebrities, big to-dos. So we cut to what's going on there. They're throwing parties like, yeah, we got Joker's kids, and it's getting kind of weird, because there's like moments when they're reenacting scenes from Nightfall where dude who's like really jacked is, about to break Batman's back. And like, this is like our other dad. I'm not quite comfortable with this. Bryce is sort of embracing this whole idea, because Bryce is I'm sorry, let me check my notes here. Okay, and forgive my language here. A fucking idiot. Alright, I didn't realize we'd be dumber than Jackie. But you know what? It turns out Bryce is. And he's like, hey, you know what? The scene of you guys, like, reenacting the scenes with our mom and dad, kind of gross. So he's like, you know what? I got this. Because here we don't have to apologize for who we are. Like, Bryce seems to really like this place because he's not being chastised or ridiculed or bullied for the fact that he is the son of the Joker. You know, because everyone knows who his dad is. It's like, you know what? This is who... We don't have to be ashamed here. And he reveals that, hey, Joker's on this phone. Alright? Here he is, AI. And everyone's fighting for the phone. So it's weird. And Jack's like, hey, this isn't a good idea. And the phone goes around. It goes around and around and around and around. And it breaks. Because it's probably a cheap phone. You know, probably not, but, you know, even if it's a good phone, without an OtterBox, you just can't. You can't be throwing that thing around, especially in a warehouse. So anyway, it breaks the conversation, like, Jack, you are good, and it just doesn't go through. Luckily, before it can all get worse, Harleen and Harley, it's weird, go in, they attack, like, hey, we're here to help. There's even a scene where the girl's like, oh my god, Neo Joker, this is inspiration to me, and your relationship with the Joker is really great, and she's like, that is not what I need to hear, so she stabs her, and it's sort of like Neo Harley, oh, I'm sorry, I forget what she wants to be called, I think she's Marlene. I think her name is Marlene. Like, hey, you know what? She's been trying. It's sort of like a meta commentary. Like, this is the girl. Like, oh, I just want to be just like Joker and Harley. Like, no, he's a psycho. She's physically and emotionally abused. These are not goals. Just stick to Gomez and Morticia Addams, and it's fine. Or be more realistic and go with the couple from the Munsters. Alright, there we go. Why was it never epic rap battles of history? Herman Munster versus Gomez Addams. Like, that would have been banging. Anyway, we go through. It's a fight. Bryce and Jackie are able to get into the Batmobile and go away, you know, before it loses a wheel. So there's that. And Jackie's like, hey, it's like Dad trying to say something. You're great. You are. I think we're all thinking that he's saying you're grounded. Alright, because Harleen said the same thing. Alright? But he's like, hey, I think I know what he's saying. I think he's saying there's a way to bring him back. And there's only one place to do it. Anyway. Harleen is really sad because they've missed the kids. And Marlene talks about, hey, how important, why the relationship between the two of them has been so great. And it's because in a lot of ways she is envious of Harleen, because Harleen saw how far the Joker was going to go, and despite how much she loved him, loved Jack Napier, she left. She's like, I can't do this anymore. She had the strength of character and strength of self to walk away. Marion, I don't know why I kept calling her Marlene. Marion never did that. She already had problems. She was slitting her wrist before she met the Joker. And the Joker was able to come in and just sort of take over her entire life. And she never got to walk away. As a matter of fact, Joker died, and Harley sort of went over, and Marion sort of went over the edge. She rebranded herself as Neo Joker. So she's never been able to define herself as anything but the Joker. Harleen's done the exact opposite. And she's like, yeah, let's go find your kids. You know, puck up. Let's go get your kids like you really are, Riot. You know, and she's like, Riot. I like that. I like that. So anyway, Jackie contacts their mom. Her mom's like, hey, there we go. And he's like, hey, I know exactly what to do. I know where we gotta go. We gotta go to Arkham Asylum. And I thought, at no point did your dad say that. Like, I put money on it. This is never the plan. So Bryce is weirded out by the asylum. Like, this place just seems kind of unsettling. Apparently, it's now an actual research facility. I'm like, okay, all right, a bit weird, but you know, whatever. And it's sort of weird because they make the whole about like, this is where they said this is where Dad went crazy. Like, no, Dad was never crazy. This is just where they made him think he was crazy. Like, no, Joker was crazy. Jack Napier wasn't crazy. The weird thing is that Jack Napier was a sick man. All right, he actually had a serious debilitating mental condition that led him to becoming the Joker. Joker was crazy. All right, Joker is legitimately, I would say, is the technical definition of insane. All right, if you want insane, look at the Joker or every edgelord's attempt to write Alice in Wonderland. you can only blame Arkham Asylum for so much. But anyway. So they break into Arkham Asylum, because it's never hard to break into Arkham Asylum. No matter what period you're in, I could break into Arkham Asylum. I could break out of Arkham Asylum. It's like, it's just, no. Anyway. So Diana and John are like, hey, so, things have been, like, good to bad, bad to good. So some good news. We found the kids. We know where they are. And the bad news is Bruce Wayne has gone AWOL. All right, and he's supposed to be doing this whole thing against like the Kryptonian thing. We still haven't gotten to that yet. We're waiting for Sean Gordon Murphy to come back. So anyway, they walk through the asylum trying to figure out what to do here, trying to find the right research thing, and it's all stopped by, I guess, the guard of Arkham Asylum, Mr. Freeze. I'm like, oh snap! Finally, a professional is here. And I love it. And that's how the comic ends. Ultimately, Generation Joker really is coming off, in my opinion, as the weakest of the Murphyverse stories. It's still not bad. But again, I think it really picks up on maybe a failing of the Beyond White Knight book, where we had a great time to possibly explore both Bryce and Jackie, and we really didn't spend a lot of time exploring either of them. So now they're on their own, we don't get a lot of time to do that, because a good portion of this story is still, if it's not Jack, it's Harleen and Marion, soon to be Riot. They are sort of bit players in this story. This whole thing about Bryce really having to deal with the fact that he's the son of the Joker, and he's having trouble trying to separate that identity, because even both Jackie and Bryce have trouble trying to make a disconnect between Jack Napier and the Joker. And a lot of people do, even in universe, don't see the difference between Jack Napier and the Joker. Bruce and Harleen will tell you there's different as night and day. They're two different people. But it just doesn't feel that way to a lot of people who didn't know either of them. Alright? Marion knows the difference between Jack Napier and Joker. She really does, because she hated Jack Napier. She loved the Joker. So there's that. A lot of people who were there at the time saw Jack Napier deteriorating into the Joker. So yeah, it's one of those you had to be there to really understand it. So it makes sense that Bryce is having trouble defining himself, and even thinks that he belongs with a bunch of Joker sycophants. Because hey, they get it. They like Joker. I don't have to feel ashamed that my dad was a psychopathic criminal. Because, again, he isn't, presumably, and everyone keeps waiting for one of these kids to go insane. But who knows? Who knows? Overall, this is alright, but without Jack, the story did sort of fall apart for me. So anyway, that is it. Anyway, if you are new to the Bucket, thanks for like, comment, share, subscribe. What was your favorite story? What's a good book you've read this week? Let me know in the comment section. I'll catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.